Washington, D.C. comes MC and producer Let the Dirt Say Amen. Fresh off the release of his new album, Hear My Dear, Let the Dirt Say Amen has built a respected catalog rooted in lyricism and deeply personal storytelling. In addition to Hear My Dear, he's known for projects including God Hates Gucci, Cool Disco Dirt, Jesus Light Skin Superstar, and a long history of powerful visual and independent releases that have earned him a dedicated following throughout the underground and independent hip hop. Before launching his solo career, Let the Dirt Say Amen spent over 2 decades as part of the acclaimed Washington, D.C. hip-hop group, the Cornel West Theory, blending hip-hop with jazz, blues, punk, and social commentary. Over the years, both Let the Dirt Say Amen and Cornel West Theory have earned multiple Whammy Awards, including honors for Best Rap Album and Best Rap Duo. Tune in to learn about his journey in music, the making of his new album, Hear My Dear, and what he's got coming next. The Cristopolis Show number 280. From Washington, D.C. comes MC and producer Let the Dirt Say Amen. He has an incredible discography, but he just recently dropped a new album called Hear My Dear. We're going to talk to him about that new album, plus his incredible career. Let's bring him in. Peace, peace, peace.
What up, bro? What up?
I'm good, my brother. What an honor to have you on the Cristopolis Show. Your discography is insane. I had heard you for many years, Cornel West Theory, obviously, and also just over time, listening to things here and there. But, when you prepare for an interview, you go in deep and you listen to somebody's body of work. Wow. Incredibly impressive.
Thank you.
Incredibly impressive. The most recent album, Hear My Dear, cool play on words, you know what I'm saying? Hear My Dear, the way you spelled dear, the way you spelled here. Talk to us about the most recent offering.
Yes, Hear My Dear is an album. It's loosely like a brother sister album to the Cool Disco Dirt project, but it doesn't really have necessarily like a central theme. If anything, it's just more so like a collection of songs that I kind of just wanted to be creative at that moment, and those were the particular ones that manifested themselves into that album. But it's also an album kind of loosely detailing where I am in life at that point of the release. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of in transit between my hometown of Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, where I was living for roughly about 3 years.
Yeah, because that comes out in your lyrics, talking about, coming to the West and everything. And I'm from DC and I'm in LA now. Right? So we got that connect, and I know how wildly different this animal over here is.
Oh yeah. Hey man, shout out to all the people at 4 p.m. instead of 7,
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good. So how recently were you in LA? And talk to us about, that experience for you as a person from the East Coast, a Washingtonian, because that's a special kind of East Coast, right? That's not in New Jersey or New York or Philly, right? That's its own flavor because we got that little South sprinkled in there,
Yeah.
And talk to us about your experience, how recent it was, and then the journey back.
I left DC in 2022 in September.
Wow.
And I was just basically, I want to say, in LA for 2 years before I'd even visited back to, the DMV area. And it was a blessing being out there. I got a lot of opportunities that I know wouldn't have materialized had I not made that journey. And some of that is just meeting certain people, you know what I mean? But I had a awesome time in LA. It was difficult because it's, a world that I didn't know. It's a bigger place, a much bigger place, and it has its issues too, So you have to, I think, embrace it if you really want to be a part of it. And I did my best to do that with the help of some people that are truly from the ground, from the turf, as they say. And 3 years, I think this is May. So literally a year ago, I landed back in DC on my birthday at the end of the month of May. So just shy of 3 years officially, because like I said, September is when I got out there. But I got love, man. wherever I went. I can just say that. I don't know
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's a LADC thing, which you know what I mean. I do believe that there's a some sort of like kindred spirit between the two of us, even though it's
yeah,
like vastly different worlds. Um, but yeah, LA played a huge role in the way my pen developed to the point of Hear My Dear.
yeah. The you know, uniquely being from DC also, and being out here now, and I've only been here three and a half years, right? So kind of similar
Yeah,
timelines. Yeah, kind of similar. Some parallels happen in there. Um, I was super shocked at how much of a different world it is and how difficult it is, right? Because you think, it's a bigger city, but I don't know, man. It's like it's so different here because on the East Coast you always feel like, well, I could just work. I could just make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I got grit. And as there's something out here, it's like quicksand. It's like you can't move. It's like, but everybody's cool. They're used to it here. They're
hmm
used to like a whole different type of adversity of to just make things work and just go with it. And you might have to sleep on a cot. You might have to like sleep in your car. You know what I'm saying? It's like the grind and the hustle is so crazy out here. It's different from the East Coast, and you got to live it to know what it is. There's no way to
yeah,
actually put it into words. You think DC is tough. You know what I'm saying? But it's just kind of different out here. It's just whole other universe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, just being. I mean, one, it's about hip hop for me at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So LA affected me in a way that no other place could, the same way it affected the rest of the country when we started to get wind of the music. So that would lead you into learning a little bit about the neighborhoods if you could, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. But like you said, you have to be there really to like truly understand it, and you still not going to understand everything because it's
Yeah.
a deep, deep history.
Yeah.
But that being said, everything I saw, every street I went past, every neighborhood I was allowed to be in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of like going and seeking out who I feel like are the holy ones, like the people that, in some way they might have been involved with a bit of destruction and they changed it around so that the kids that are now coming up can hopefully do something opposite of that. So just seeing their version of what I grew up in, it caused me to write certain things and incorporate certain, streets or neighborhoods in the way that I broke bars down and just to say, hey, look, I love y'all too. That was
Yeah.
basically what I was saying in the way that I wrote and how it affected the art.
That's
But
dope.
LA is a beautiful monster. It
Yeah.
really is.
That's the
Like
best way to put it.
it's definitely like a second home for me though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Adversity and all.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. Hear My Dear, the production's incredible on all your albums. Who produced Hear My Dear?
So I like to say that God did most of the work, but I'm
Yeah.
the vessel. So with most of my albums, I produced, I would say 95, 97%
Yeah,
of the
so see, I
music.
thought that, and I didn't want to assume, you know what I'm saying? And then I know you
Yeah.
got a project coming up with Superior that we could jump into. But like, I wasn't 100% sure if it was you,
Yeah. With
but
this album,
wow,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I,
Um,
I think I did half of it in LA and maybe the other half of it once I got back to DC, like just the beats itself. But Here My Dear is a project because I had done an album, one album prior to that called Contracts Over Contact. Shout out to my brother Skinny Hightower who produced that whole thing. But I wanted to go back to just me being the sole producer because I don't like to wait on people, which is no
yeah,
diss to any other producer, but I just
sure,
always feel
sure.
like I've learned enough from watching people like Premier and Pete Rock and Diamond D and Jay Dilla and DJ Muggs and DJ Quick and Battle Cat to know enough about how do I want my stuff to sound. So that's where
Yeah.
me and production comes in. But yes, I did the work on him. I did.
Because we can hear your lyrics, right? But the production's interesting because we experience it and feel it. But what are you producing on? Like what, if you could kind of, for the producers out there and they hear this, right? What's your setup look like?
I only use juices and berries. No, I'm just messing with you. I produce mostly on Logic, and I use a MacBook, and that's been my sword, and my direwolf walking with me to make this music shit.
So you're using like a DAW. You're basically producing everything in a DAW.
Yeah, it's like YouTube is my wide open record store, and I just hope that I find the ones that other producers haven't found. The way that
Yeah, you
digging in the
do.
crates is
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
do, my bro. Dude, you got so many, like you could just tell. Like that's that's the gift.
thank you, Ken.
Yeah. Wow. What a dope project. So you mentioned that album, kind of is a product of the time that you were here in LA. But you've had more projects, right? So like you mentioned the contracts over contacts, and then also this Cool Disco Dirt. But the timeline of those, at least how they show up on streaming are like 2025. Were those also LA projects?
Yeah, so let's see. The first album that I did in LA was Jesus Light Skin Superstar.
All right,
So
yeah.
that was
Which is a
that.
dope name. That's such a dope. That's
Thank you,
such a
brother.
dope name for the joint.
Yeah, thank you, man. I dropped that one, I think, at the end of 2023, literally like Christmas, like Eve or something like that. So
Right,
that was the first
perfectly
project.
aligned with the theme, with the name of the album and everything.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but that one hit. Then I was working on I Love You, I'm Not Sorry during that time too. That one was recorded in Inglewood. Shout out to my brother THX, an amazing, multi-talented, multi-genre engineer, producer. He's a lot of things, but shout out to THX, man. But I did that in Inglewood, and that was literally the first LA, because the other one, shout out to my brother Dags, that one was recorded in Oxnard. So, close, but not exactly LA proper, but like
Yeah,
I
for
said.
DC cats it's LA, but for LA cats
And shout out
it's
to
Oxnard,
Inglewood too, because Inglewood is its own shit. So let's just
City of
say it like that.
Champions.
Yeah.
Absolutely, got it. So, um, and
Cool
I want to
Disco
make
Dirt
sure.
was recorded back home. I
Okay,
came back to visit, and I recorded it at my brother's crib and got it over to my brother Judah. Shout out to Judah, who usually mixes and masters a lot of my shit.
yeah,
And then I came back, and like I said, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, forgive me. I was working on contracts over contacts first, then Cool Disco Dirt once I got back to DC. So contracts over contacts was also recorded in Inglewood with my brother THX. And then, Cool Disco Dirt. Then, like I said, when I was kind of in that transition, is Here My Dear. So, like, that's like almost 4 projects like that I did while I was out there.
yeah, yeah. And the Cool Disco Dirt, did that get its name because you were back home? Because Cool Disco Dan, that's some DC shit, right? Like, you know what I mean? And you were visiting. Did that inspire, or did you already have kind of like the idea?
Well, I think Dan was always around in some way. If you from the city,
Bro, I mean, you get
it's
on the
just like
bus and it's like,
everywhere. Yeah, it's just like go-go. It's like it's gonna be around and affect you in some way. So um I have a first solo album, right, that was released under the name Tim Hicks and the Dirty Church. It's called Bullets, which you can only find it on my Bandcamp. But in Bullets, at the very end of the album, there's an interlude or outro, and you hear Cool Disco Dan talking. So that was 2019. So I didn't know it, but years later it would come back out, and I was originally going to call that album Super Yuck. Cool Disco Dirt was originally supposed to be called Super Yuck, but I changed the name right when I kind of got the idea of, like, I just watched a documentary on Dan and was like, yo, you should just make this a concept album. And, like, you know what I mean? So that's where I would say Here My Dear and that differ in a way, because the Disco Dirt is more of a concept, and it, ties into the documentary that I watched about him. But um, pardon me if I'm losing my train of thought.
Nah, bro. Just so because I haven't seen the documentary yet, but there's so many gems. Um, did you know Cool Disco Dan in real life?
I wish I could have met the brother, but I feel like I knew him through his art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like everywhere, like you said, if you were around at that time, you saw his name and his graffiti everywhere. So
yeah,
it's sort of like music. Like if I've never met a person, I meet them through their art.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I think that Cool Disco Dan, especially for people in the DC area, spanned so many decades
Yeah,
and back into the 80s. You know what I'm saying? So like, before the internet. You know what I mean? So it's like a thing that everybody who lives in the DC area, Maryland, Virginia, and DC proper, experience Cool Disco Dan together. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And it's unique. It's a very unique thing because he was so up. I mean, it wasn't like a little bit. He was like number one, two, three, four, and five. You know what I'm saying? He like was all the way up.
yeah, yeah. No
Yeah,
doubt, man. But rest in peace to Dan, man, and shout out to all the graffiti writers because
yeah,
um, contrary to popular misbelief and some of the things that have been spoken by some of our dear artists, graffiti is definitely a part of hip hop.
yeah,
I'll leave it at that.
yeah, yeah. I heard that comment also, and
Yeah, I'll leave it at
it's
that.
one of the
It's
core
one of the
pillars.
five elements,
Yeah, it's
baby.
one of the core pillars.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, so many people come into, especially if you're an older head, came into hip hop through breakdancing or graffiti first,
yeah, man.
right?
It's
So,
it's just the visual aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
breakdancing is the dance aspect of it. MCing is the lyricist, the writer side, the vocal side. The DJ represents production. Um, I think I got four of them just now. Let's make sure we got the DJ, the MC, the B-boy, the B-girl, the graffiti, and the fifth element that everybody leaves out: knowledge.
oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, super important, especially when you combine it with the music aspect, because specific to your music, right? When you remove the knowledge, sometimes the art kind of takes a different direction. You've been very focused throughout your career on ensuring that there's a message, that evolves as you yourself have evolved. But there's always that message. There's always knowledge and wisdom, references to great thinkers and spiritual figures across religions and thought, right? Can you talk to us about that part of yourself, as a person, as a writer? Were you always like this, or did you kind of come into hip hop and say, I want to be different? Most of the time when people read about you, that's one of the first things that's kind of highlighted is, uh, different from whatever the pop or gangster or what they call the demon era, right? You came in with a very focused um, style of talking about knowledge.
I would say it like this: if I could do it short and sweet, just like any other hip hop head, it was just about the fun early on because we came in when it was fun.
Yeah,
Before it turned into a big money grab and before it turned into 1,000 people dying per record. It was about fun. But at some point, I was blessed enough for somebody to introduce me to that guy over my shoulder, Mr.
yeah,
Robert Nesta Marley. And
yeah,
and there's others. There's John Coltrane. There's Max Roach. Um, there's Nina Simone. But I discovered those people later in life, probably in my like later teens to 20s. And when I heard them, I realized, oh, you can actually say something. You know,
good.
Public Enemy is an example of, oh, you can actually say something and win.
Yeah,
So I just usually shorten it to say, what if Bob Marley was a rapper? What would he rap about? Would he rap about trash or would he talk about life in a way where it's trying to get to improve? you know,
Yeah.
or at minimum keep you smiling while you're dealing with the struggle.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, a way I could sum it up.
That's really good. Uh, there's a lot of God and spirituality and figures like that that work their way into your lyrics. Um, but what about on the political side? Do you find yourself being political, or do you kind of focus more on the metaphysical?
I think when I, like, started, the Cornel West Theory is obviously attached to someone whose name, it kind of invokes that, right?
Yeah.
So in that aspect, it was a central focus on, oh, we're going to talk about these things and these particular figures. Um, as I evolved as a writer and I'm working on solo material, it's still there. If you're paying attention, you'll still hear me saying "Free Mumia" until he actually comes home. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, you will hear it still woven in, but it's in a way where I'm doing my best to be a messenger and not a pastor so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it may
Yeah.
come across as preaching, but it's not me shoving down my particular beliefs in someone else's, space. It's more so me saying, hey, this is what works for me. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm a human being just like you, and maybe we
Absolutely.
can figure this thing out together.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, you mentioned Chuck D. You got the '93 Chuck D, which is a banger. Now knowing that you produced it, right? It's like, well, why specifically '93 Chuck D? That's like the can't trust it era, right?
Yeah, it's like, um, I can't remember what exactly inspired me to go for the year of 93 in particular right now. I might have even been 93 till infinity. That may have made me think of
Oh,
that 93, but
I was literally having a dialogue with
and Benny
myself.
the Butcher too. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off. Go
yeah,
ahead,
no,
bro.
it's cool.
I was just thinking Benny has a song, I think it's called 96 Hove. So it might have been like those subconsciously, but it's there is a reason why I picked 93. I just can't think of it right now. But it's just like, I know that's a time, when hip hop was like kind of taking that curve into like, oh, this is starting to get like heavy now, you know what I mean? So, and without PE, you know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't necessarily know how to fight the power.
Yeah, I remember because I was literally when I thought to myself, I was like '93. I'm sitting here in my mind without like doing the chat or like researching. I was like '93 Chuck D. I'm like that's like shut him down. I'm like no, that's
Perfect.
like can't trust it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Perfect.
but then I'm
Yeah.
thinking I was like, but why ain't he ain't say '89 Chuck D? You know what I'm saying? I was like I'm having this whole dialogue by myself over an incredibly dope song. One of
Thank
the
you, bro.
standout tracks on a dope record. One of the standouts. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Thank you, King.
uh, but yeah, but it was one of those moments where I was like wondering why specifically '93 Chuck D. Um, yeah, incredible production on that project. You mentioned your Bandcamp. I want to make sure that people know where to get music you can't find other places, and other any merch or things that you have do you want people to know about.
Yeah, definitely, man. If you are on Instagram and you just go to my link tree in the bio section, that'll take you to the centralized place. Bandcamp, I always say, is for people that want to own
Yeah.
the music and want to support it in that way, where you want to see the artist continue to make the music. But for those that just, you needed instant gratification, I'm on all thieving platforms.
That's so hilarious when I saw that written. You got it like written in places,
Yeah,
right? You're like, and it
they
all
know
thieving
why.
platforms. That is perfect. That's perfectly
Yeah,
succinct as to
they
what
know
it
why.
is.
That's why I tell people to go to Bandcamp, because Bandcamp will at least give me the type of split that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Spotify is wild, and one, they're benefiting from my shit while I'm not. The only benefit that I get is that maybe people who won't go to Bandcamp for laziness or whatever reason, um, they want to hear it and they're on Spotify. Okay, it's there for you. Until
Yeah.
I figure out a better system personally,
Yeah.
It's there. But I believe that people should support the artist directly. You know, like I said, is and no diss, but when Queen Bee comes to town, and I'm not talking about Lil Kim, it's a bunch of ladies going out and buying cowboy boots, and you know, so it's like, all right, well, if you want hip hop to not suck, help people like me get paid so that we
Yeah.
can actually change the shit for the better,
Yeah.
because there are some of us that still care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. The all thieving platforms was like such a good line.
Yeah,
And
you know,
yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and I don't think they're not going to self correct.
nah.
Spotify's not going to self. I'm right. I'm in the arts district, so I'm like Spotify's like right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not going to self correct. And now with the AI music, they're doing this thing where there's two things that they're doing that are really interesting. The one thing is the new contracts when you like sign up, in your distro kit or whatever it is when you submit the music, they're doing a thing where the AI can already strip out sections, right? But they could do your acapella, they could do the drums, the bass on its own. They could just do
Mm-hmm.
that. And now they're doing a thing where people are going to be able to do remixes and stuff of your music, AI remixes, and you're basically agreeing to it if you read the fine print. That's
Mm-hmm.
one. The other thing they're doing is that the AI music is getting so easy for them and good actually, like where you can't tell the difference between was this produced by a human or an AI, right? Let's make that the standard, right? Was it produced by a human or AI? That they're just going to become AI companies that are creating their own music, streaming it, paying themselves off of the stream. I mean, so we're kind of in this really interesting moment where a lot of artists that I talk to are talking about like that. This is my last album, on streaming. I'm bringing
Mm-hmm.
it back to the website. I'm
Mm-hmm.
bringing it back to the physical. I'm
Yeah.
bringing it back hand to hand live. You want this, you're going to get a 30-second clip on a reel. And if you want that song, you need to see me perform it and buy the CD,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're kind of in this real interesting moment where, it's literally like Rage Against the Machine. The machine's
Yeah.
getting so powerful that how do you combat that? Through scarcity, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Well, I say this much: there will never be a computer that can write the way I can, because the
Mm,
computer's not getting the lyrics from Ja. I am. So I would like to challenge you know, whoever makes that shit to try. Just let's see. You know what I mean? If you can, I'll, send applause for you. But in the meantime, the real writers are still out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that remix of my shit, come to me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
let's work out a business arrangement. Like, we're not doing this shit. I'll leave names out, but let's just say we're going to do this the legitimate way and not the
yeah,
illegitimate way. You know what I mean? Like, this AI over here, I don't even screen. You know what I mean? Which is a double. You know what I mean?
that's
I'm
good.
good on that. So let them do what they do. Me personally, I don't care about that. It's about authenticity. You know?
So
Yeah.
the new album, Here My Dear, available on all platforms for people who want to go enjoy it. You produced it, and then you're the voice. You wrote all the lyrics. Can you share with us what that process is like? You just mentioned right now, um, that you get connected, and that's how you write your music. And then for a self-produced album, I imagine it's like a whole other level. Talk to us about that creative process of when you create a song, how you write your songs, how you put them together.
hmm Um, I usually work in like album space most of the time. I'm never really doing singles. So usually it's a concept, right? Some albums don't have a concept. It's just songs. Like Here My Dear is not necessarily a concept album, but that being said, what I normally do is, after I'm, done making a certain amount of beats, which I don't always do. Sometimes I'll go months without any producing anything, but I'll get a little bug to create, and once I have the music, I'll start pulling songs into a list. Sometimes I might literally create the beat with the intention that, no, this is making the cut. And once I finish making the beats that I say are for this album, then it's done. I go from there, setting the tracks up in an instrumental order and saying, would this be a dope album even if there were no words? And if I hear it and it sounds dope like that to me, then I say you got an album, and I start writing from there. Each song obviously will take whatever turn it takes depending on what the spirit is at that moment. With Hear My Dear, and with Cool Disco Dirt, I mean, with each album you're trying to improve, but I think with those two, for me in particular, I was trying to figure out how to still be a MC and show that, yeah, if you want to do that, we can do that. But how do you take the skill and turn it into something more meaningful than just you saying, oh, I'm doper than all the rest of y'all? You know what I mean? So hopefully the lyrics in those songs are a lot deeper than just, you know, my dick is bigger than yours, and my car
Right.
is better than yours, and my bitches is better than yours, my guns are better than yours, like all of that goofy shit.
Yeah. Wow. What a really dope breakdown of how you it's super unique actually, especially the self-produced ones, how you produce them. You put them in order, and then does it stand on its own sonically, right?
Hmm.
Just and then the songs are born. Like that's really really interesting.
Yeah. Thank you,
Talking.
bro.
Yeah, brother, it's really fascinating. It's really creative, like really like artistic, and artists are dope because they they do it their way. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And so that's really interesting how you shared that. What I'm curious about is, you're well known for the Cornel West Theory.
Hmm.
Won awards. The name stands out. More people, right? So that he's kind of like a movement. And then um, there's the Tim Hicks project, right? The Last Church. But then there's the Let the Dirt Say Amen, like all the albums that have come out. Um, was Let the Dirt Say Amen kind of born in LA?
No, it was actually born. So that was born in DC, like I am.
Yeah.
Um, Unlike others that claim to be. Anyway, I'm leaving that alone. I'm just messing with you. Um, or not. But that being said,
Well, you gonna leave that there?
yeah, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm just, stirring the pot. But I'm from DC, and I was producing, unbeknownst to anybody else, under the name The Dirty Church. Only a few people like knew the name, and so when I got to the solo albums, like Tim Hicks and The Dirty Church, but then I discovered it was some other artists that used Dirt
Church.
Church or
Yeah.
Dirty Church in their name in some way. And instead of having a situation like Biggie did, where he had to become Notorious B.I.G.,
Yeah.
one day I literally heard in my brain, the same way I heard the Cornel West Theory, one day just out of nowhere, I was sitting somewhere and I heard the Cornel West Theory. And so the same way I was just sitting one day, I think in the basement or something of my parents' house, and I heard Let the Dirt Say Amen. And I was thinking of it like more like a kind of catchphrase between me and whoever decides that they want to support my music. But right when I thought that, I immediately had the thought, what if that was your name or the name that you rap under? Because I like names that don't really like say me, like, you know what I mean? I want them
Yeah.
to be like, you have to kind of think like, well, what the hell is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So um, it ended up sticking. And I hit my best friend, shout out to my bro Rashad, aka Hoodie the Nigerian, and he was like, "That's it." And so, ever since then, I ran with it. And shout out to Chuck D too, because I heard him say once that that's one of the dopest names the artist could ever have. So yeah. Let
That's
the
a
dirt
good
say, man. It
cosign.
just kind of says everything. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's like the dirt speaks to the dirt in the music. It speaks to the dirt in humanity of us not being perfect.
Hmm.
Um, to say amen to me is just acknowledging something bigger than you. And it's just like the saying, let the church say amen. So, you know what I mean? But yeah,
Man,
it was born in the District of Columbia,
that's
definitely.
dope.
Yeah,
That's
when
dope.
I was riding them trains with people, was smoking weed on the trains and hopping the turnstile.
And the other dope thing about it is that it's so unique that you could get most of the you know, the handles. You know what I'm saying? From like a business perspective, there
Mhm.
shouldn't be, like what happened with Biggie, right?
Yeah,
Biggie, there's another Biggie. Um, but let the dirt say amen. There's a higher probability you could get that handle. I know that that's like
yeah,
a little thing, but that's the way my mom works. I'm always thinking
yeah.
like, because you invest so much in building something, you know?
Yeah, and it's that's mine, man. Can't nobody take that. Like you gotta take that shit with this.
Yeah,
If you ain't got this, you ain't got the higher force. Yeah.
that's
Next
good.
question, man.
Yeah. So the Cornel West theory, you talked about how that name came to you. It's probably worth it. It's such an important part of your career, it's such a well-known part of your career. It's probably good to spend a little bit of time on it. Talk to
hmm
us about, the name, where you were at that moment in time, and then ultimately, going solo.
Yeah. First shout out to Dr. West. First, like, because without him, then we would just be rebels with another name.
Yeah,
But um, I was young. I was inspired. I was learning. I was becoming what people now consider woke, right?
right.
And somehow my friend pointed me in the direction of Dr. West's work. I had not read a lot of it because his work is very intricate, it's very serious, it's very layered. Um, but that being said, what I did assess from the pieces that I did read was like, oh, okay, he kind of seems like he represents what we really want to talk about in hip hop. Because it could have been any other name of it could have been
Yeah,
the Huey P. Newton theory. It could have been the Octavia Butler theory, the Angela Davis theory,
yeah,
but Doc was the one that stood out to me and to us at the time. And he was kind enough to bless us with his namesake, bless us with his participation, his promotion. You know what I mean? He did his best to like speak to people about us and put us in situations that we wouldn't normally be in. And salute to the people who were kind enough and crazy enough to run with me. All right. So shout out to my
yeah.
brother Rashad. Shout out to Yvonne Gilmore. Shout out to John Wesley Moon. Shout out to Katrina Skinner. Shout out to Sam Levine and to my big bro Ezra Greer. And to my nephew Nam, who also plays drums in the Cornel West Theory in the more recent advent. But yeah, it was just the timing I think was both right and wrong. Like, for the world, they didn't know what the hell was going on, and they probably could have benefited from what was happening because we were there to still hold the tradition, but also to like shift hip hop in a way of being like, yo, like we're pushing this envelope because Outkast pushed the envelope
Yeah.
because Gangstar pushed it. So that I think sums up the Cornel West theory. It's like if you could mash Jimi Hendrix into Pete Rock and CL Smooth and drop a little bit of Bjork and Radiohead in there, but it also has Curtis Mayfield and it also has Gil Scott Heron, and you just shake it up and we and we did what we did for a time, and there's music brewing. I'll just say that and leave it at that for the people that still care and are concerned with C West Theory. um, and we represent those that cannot represent themselves in that way. Like we can rap, we can speak to problems, and we care about speaking to them. You know what I'm saying? We could use the microphone for anything, but
Yeah.
yeah,
That's good. Thank you so much. It seems like we're in a time right now where we need a little C West theory. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? So it's and not to say that you're not covering much of that with Let the Dirt Say Amen. Um, but it's a little bit different.
yeah.
It's
Well,
more
I'll
personal.
I'll just say these words: "Kill the gangsters." And I'm gonna leave it at that. And like I said, it's possibly new music brewing.
That's dope.
Mhm.
Really, really good. Thank you. Thank you. Talk about new music. You announced today when the single with Superior is dropping. Whatever you could share with the Superior, incredible producer from Europe, how you connected, whatever you could share with us about the upcoming project.
Yes. All right. So shout out to my brother Superior. Um, I'm honored, bro, that you again decided, hey, it should be you, you know, that I work with on this next project. But um, shout out to another young brother, very dope artist from the DMV named Jamal J, who hit me up and was like, "Yo, man, I want you to jump on this track with me." And we did the song. It's called Onomatopoeia, and the video dropped. Shout out to Micah who shot the video, and Pete Rock. Shout out to Pete Rock who has been very kind in the way of, you know, reposting some of my material over
Wow.
the last couple years. Pete reposted it, and then Superior saw it on Pete's page, and from there he, you know, hit me up, and he was originally doing a single that was just supposed to be a tribute to Ka from Brownsville,
Yeah,
rest in
yeah,
peace. And from there it was just like, okay, this is, let me get a couple more beats from you, bro, and then EP becomes the next thing. And then he said, yo, do you want to just do a whole album? I was like, of course, I would love to. And then from there, we just started, you know, he would kept sending me tracks. We would, you know, go back and forth over which ones we thought were the right ones. And, you know, he would challenge me, you know, on some songs. Like a lot of them were just like, we did it and it was instant, just like, oh man, this is perfect. Some, there was like, you know, hey, bro, I think you can write even more if you know what I mean? And that's a lot to say about a producer that cares enough to say that to the
yeah,
MC. You know what I'm saying? And then it says a lot about the MC to be willing to challenge themselves to say, hey, I know I'm dope, but go back and see what else you can come up with. And then because of that, we have the album that is about to drop. And this album is phenomenal. It will hopefully change the playing field. It changes the sonics for me personally, as Let the Dirt Say Amen, as Timothy John Hicks. It goes in a very different direction than what people are used to. And
wow,
hopefully, like I said, when they hear it, it'll be like, oh man, these dudes like really like dug, you know, deep to create this, you know, body of work.
yeah. Because Superior, I mean, has worked with some of the best, and
Yeah,
does
man.
not work. He's not a cat that like his beats are for sale. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
he
His name
picks who
rings
he's gonna
out.
work with
Mm-hmm.
and creates sonic soundscapes
Yeah.
for a very, and it's not even based on like fame. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's gonna have a certain level of fame because he's only working with an elite class, but
Mm-hmm.
he's really hungry for unique cadence, flow. Like he's like on some real hip hop shit. Like
Yeah,
how
definitely.
dope are you for
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
real? Not how many followers you have, not how many whatever. How really incredible and unique are you? You know,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
and you know, and then he's that good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely, man. Like I said, it's a blessing for me to be the one that was chosen for this project in particular.
Yeah.
You know, because I know, like I said, you talking about names like Shay Noir and ST Knack, like it's like, yeah, all right. So I'm trying to be mentioning those names, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to have an opportunity so that people can say, oh, I have a choice. I'm listening. Yeah, I'm gonna start talking to people about you the same way I speak about, you know, your Benny the Butchers, your Black Thoughts, your Andre 3000s. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's good. The so this project hasn't dropped yet. You announced today the first single. What can you share with us in regards to like the rollout, the release, and things like that for people who are waiting?
I can say. So we got, like I said, Superior announced that the first single, and I believe the video is going to drop the same day too, um, on Juneteenth. So
That's
that's
dope.
a beautiful thing, um, and it also like collides and aligns with, you know, something else that's special to me on that day. So that's like awesome. It's Gemini season. It's a lot of things, but it's like I said, that'll be the initial point of rollout, and from there, I believe we're dropping 3 singles in total. So from that point, probably I want to say a month out each time, we're
Yeah.
gonna get the singles rolling out. The video obviously comes out, and the vinyl will drop roughly September-ish, and then the streaming and all thieving platforms, it hits in October. So it's like, basically June to October, you're gonna get the invitation to come join us. You know what I'm saying?
That's really dope. And that's a really like that rollout, it seems like the modern blueprint for artists really doing it right now, where they do the build up, then you go buy the physical first,
Hmm.
and you have some exclusivity
Yeah,
on a on something scarce. There's only a
yeah,
limited amount. You got to
hmm,
get it,
hmm,
and you have it first, and then everybody else gets it later.
yeah, yeah. That part, man. I'm honored, one, because it's me and Superior, but two,
Yes.
it's also we're doing this with the help of a label over in Europe called Fuck Rap and RRC Music. So that's a beautiful thing because, again, the artists that come out on that label, their projects that are released are, high ranking people within the spectrum of hip hop. So yeah, this is about to be one for the books. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a good shockwave to go through the industry of like, oh, okay, like everybody else is on that, but this guy, what is he doing?
Yes.
What are they doing over there? Like, I believe that's on the way. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So, like I said, June through October is everything's gonna fall out. You know what I mean? Um, and yeah, I just pray that everything shows up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
According to what I'm telling you guys, because there's always a shift when you're dealing with
Life be
making music.
lifing.
You know what I mean? Yeah, and you want everything to come out exactly how you planned it. So there's that. That's the most important thing. And sometimes it takes time because we definitely wanted to let it go long before now, but it's about divine timing. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. You mentioned that there's going to be potentially a visual coming with the single. I want to talk a little bit about your visual work because you've got a lot of it. Some artists don't do videos or they do very rare, but you've got videos. You um, are an artist that does give a lot of space and energy to thinking about the visual aspect of his craft.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us about that part of your artistry? How involved are you in your video work? Are there specific videographers that you work with? Do you think about that when you're writing songs, or is it something that comes after the songs are completed?
I mean, I think the visuals usually show up for me most of the time after the song. Every once in a while, I might have an idea, like as things are going on, but sometimes I forget those ideas by the time it's actual showtime. Um, Shout out to my brother Ronnie Bueller, aka the Focus Shooter, my bro from out LA, who has been my videographer for probably like the last I don't know. We did a bunch of them. Like when I was in LA, from the time that I was there all the way till I came back, we did several videos. So the Focus Shooter, shout out to my man Gadget, aka Digital Hustler, and shout out to Trill is Bliss because Trill did the video for this new album with me and Superior. And I'm dying to tell y'all the name, but I can't. So
Yeah. And I love that. I respect that. I think that the mystique in music is important, you know?
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. And just like
it's
Super Yuck, right? Super Yuck and Cool Disco Dirt, things are subject to change. You
yeah,
don't know when the spirit hits. You don't know when something happens in the world that's in the album, but that thing hadn't happened in the world yet. And it's like you
mhm,
have to have that freedom as a
yeah,
creative.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah. That's dope. That's dope. Something probably important to mention. It's one of those things, especially when you got a paragraph to describe somebody. A thing that always comes out are awards that you've won. You've been the recipient not only as Let the Dirt Say Amen, but also Cornel West Theory of Whammies, right? Which is a tremendous honor. Talk to us about that. I mean, what was that like winning that, and what did it mean to you?
Okay. Um, I mean, it's recognition that you don't expect one until you start to expect it. Like at some point, I did start to expect it because I said to myself, I'm good enough to compete.
Yeah.
And when it happened, it was just like, oh, okay, like you really are. Like out of all these people, you guys have been selected to be the ones that are considered best rap group, best hip hop group in the whole DMV, which is not a small thing. You know what I mean?
Nah, a lot of talent too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's a lot of very like well-known people that we somehow managed to just take the number one spot over. And shout out to all those people because they made the cut too. But moving forward to being a solo artist, it was like, wow, like I've been blessed enough to win Best Rap Album with my first solo album. Not a lot of people can say that. Not a lot of people can say they did it in their area. You know what I'm saying? And then it happened again when God Hates Gucci came out. Perfect segue. This vinyl right here, if y'all can see this,
Yeah,
God Hates Gucci. This is what you need in your collection. All right. The link tree is in my bio. You can go right there, order your copy, and it'll ship it straight to you. And then you can have one of the greatest hip hop albums ever. This right here is a classic. So yeah, man. Anyway, um, that being said, the new album is where we need to be. So when it comes, you know what I mean? I pray that everybody has the reaction of like, oh, like, I mean, again, like I said, you want to have things like this. You want to have this new album like in your collection because it's art and it's the representation. I missed the point of saying the videos are just almost like a mini performance. Like here's a almost you getting a live show without getting a live show. So all of the pieces tie together just to present the art. You know what I mean? Like the album cover is a piece of art. It's the liner notes, like all of that stuff matters. So I pray that the people receive the music well and they go and get the merch. You know what I mean, so that they can have all the pieces to the experience.
that's good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that album. I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to it. As we start to wrap, I want to ask maybe something a little bit more personal. People know you through the Cornel West Theory, also through your Let the Dirt Say Amen. They listen to your lyrics, right? A lot of depth, a lot of um, you know. Talking about spiritual figures or thinkers, that you're definitely a person that cares about that. Is there like some knowledge you could point people to, right? That's like, I read this book, it had an impact on me. I saw this movie. What types of things have you, the person that we're listening to read or watched or consumed that had an impact on you and then kind of worked its way through your pen?
I mean, it's a lot of things, man. Like so vast, it would be hard to just narrow them down. But just to throw out a few, any work by Melvin Van Peebles, who is a very well known filmmaker. He was a blessing to me personally in my life, and I was able to connect with him and spend time with him. Octavia
Oh,
Butler, who is an author that inspires me. Obviously, like I said, Bob Marley. Um, I personally find inspiration in the stories within the Bible, but I don't necessarily tell people to do what I'm doing if it does not work for them. But I hope what does work for you causes you to treat people how you want to be treated. Assuming no one wants to be slapped in the face or spit in the face, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's God right there. If you're doing that, then you believe in God, in my opinion. So that's, I think, the sources of inspiration. You know what I'm saying? And then my three children, my mother, my father, like things like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Mm.
I have to ask, just because I'm such a movie fan, the Melvin Van Peebles. Did you actually connect with him?
Yeah. On one of the Cornel West Theory albums, it's called "Coming from the Bottom." There's an interlude where Melvin was kind enough to lend his voice. So But I met him in the 2000s, somewhere there about, and for some reason he took a liking to me, and he was like, "Yeah, man, come through the crib," and I would go, hang out with him most of the time whenever I was in New York. And then I lived in New York for a year, so I would go see him periodically and just get whatever wisdom I could get, and just the beauty of being around a black man who survived and thrived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And actually set trends in art and spoke about things without, having to like, beat his fist in the air. Like Melvin, I don't know why, but just he, would kindly let me come and sit in his living room and just, listen to the stories that people pay for. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
I did my best to put what he said to action. You know what I'm saying? Like he told me once, he said, make the album that people have to listen to, not the one they want to listen to. So I've been in a quest to do that. You know what I mean? Since he blessed me with those kind words. You know what I mean? But he was a very thorough brother and a gangster in the most holy way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And to make sure, this is Mario Van Peebles' father.
Yes, and shout out to brother Mario as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh, um,
Also
you know,
on Cornel West Theory work. Mario also did a little interlude for us. Sorry, it's not Cornel West Theory. It's actually Let the Dirt Say Amen on the Bandcamp exclusively. It's a project called Sitcom. But Mario was kind enough to bless us too with some vocals. So yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah.
The family tradition, the MVP clan.
That's a probably a good place to wrap it up. What things can you get on the Let the Dirt, say let dirt say amen Bandcamp that you can't get anywhere else? Like what other exclusive, why do people, should they go there and dig through the discography?
hmm Bullets. It used to be on the thieving platforms, but it's been taken down. So maybe it'll resurface at some point. But if you want to hear my first solo album, go to the Bandcamp page. Let the dirt say amen.bandcamp.com. And if I'm wrong, just Google it in case I was tripping. But my point is Bullets, Sitcom, which is it's almost like somewhere a bridge between the Cornel West Theory and Let the Dirt Say Amen, if you will.
Yeah, it's like
But
that in between period, like,
yeah,
right.
it's an interesting project that we released during the pandemic. So Bullets, Sitcom, and my instrumental album. I have one instrumental album up there, which is the most recent release on the Bandcamp, and that's obviously not on the thieving platforms. So go there if you love instrumental hip hop, if you're an MC, if you're a poet, if you're somebody that just likes to cook
Hmm.
potatoes over beats, like it's there. But those are all exclusive to the Bandcamp.
That's dope. That's dope, my brother.
And Jesus Light Skin Superstar.
That's good. That's good. My bro, what an honor to be with you. You talked to us about the current new project, most recent project, right? Here, my dear, available on all thieving platforms. You talked to us about the upcoming project with Superior that everybody's waiting for. He's a tremendous producer from Europe. You're a tremendous MC. You took us on a journey, right? From Cornel West Theory, all the way to LA and then back to DC. Thank you so much, my brother. It's been an honor to build with you, and we'll keep building. I'll see you in DC.
Hey, definitely, brother. I appreciate you, man. You have a lot of dope people come through your platform, and I
Thank you, bro.
appreciate your interview style and your love for hip hop. You know what I mean?
Thank you, my
I can
brother.
tell you smell it and you breathe it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to
Yes,
you, brother, for having me come through.
I appreciate that, my brother. Build with you again.
No doubt,
Really,
for sure, for sure. Thank y'all. Peace to everybody out there watching too, man.
peace.
Yeah.